Okay, we have a question. How to increase my faith-filled actions toward achieving goals for change and motivate others in my household to do the same. Okay, yeah, that's trying to help our children to do the things we want them to do, right? And make sure that our actions are encouraging that by who we are. And I would say that's the answer. The question is the answer. The obstacle is the way, right? The question is the answer. It is being faith-filled in ourselves. I have also seen, this is just in my opinion, I would love to hear what you have to say. So please feel free to share. I have seen in the last year or two, my kids are getting to ages where they are older. And, this kind of generation that's coming up, they really don't want to be told much and they want to experience it for themselves. And there's a very strong agency desire. Like, I believe in agency until my kids want to use it, right? So I've noticed that they want me to trust them and to ask them and to value them and see them as a leader, as a person who has opinions to be respected. And I don't think I haven't not respected them, but I think sometimes we can get in mother mode and we can act like, yeah, okay, but you're the child and I know what's going on. So just get in the car, kind of a feel, right? So I have really tried in the last year or two to really get the buy-in, even when I'm ready to throttle someone. I find that I'm stepping back and I'm saying to them, okay, what's your thoughts on this? What's your take on this? And modesty. Okay, I would love to know your feelings about this dress or about these shorts. Tell me what your thoughts and feelings are. And being able to say, well, what's the ultimate objective of our family? What's the ultimate objective that you have with wearing this or doing this particular thing? Or what is it that, what is it that the thing that's driving you on this particular thing? And I can't tell you how many times it's been eye-opening what their reasons are, what their thoughts are, and they're good. They're really good. And I'm like, good for you. Good on you. Like, point to you, right? Like, okay, you got it. I can totally see where they're coming from. And it's sort of like that picture, when two people are standing and they're looking at the number 6, but for the other person's perspective, it looks like a 9. So they're both right. And I can see that we are both right. I mean, I can be wrong and I don't have a problem with that. Well, maybe, but no, I don't have a problem with that on a good day when I've had chocolate. But I don't have a problem with that, but I need to know the why. And I can see now that I ask for their opinion, their perspective, I feel like they appreciate that. And I'm starting that young. Like, I'm doing it with my 8-year-old. I'm asking, well, what's your thoughts on this? Well, why do you think we should do this? The other night, last night, I asked him, I said, hey, do you want to do our thought? We do a thing called Come Follow Me. I said, do you want to do our thought for tonight? And he's like, yeah, I do. And he had been struggling with this bully. And we had to do some different steps. And I given him coping skills. And then we've done some different steps and things like that. And he sat down and he did 2 Venn diagrams. He said, here's a circle for a bully. And what are the things that make up a bully? And then what's the things that make up someone who's not a bully? And then he did a sweet spot in the middle. He's watching, Mom. I'm telling you, they're watching. Anyway, he did a sweet spot in the middle and said, where did they meet? And you know what we figured out? They both want to be loved. They both want to know how to love and be loved. It was like, wow. And they both need to set and respect healthy boundaries. Isn't that great? So I love being able to say to our kids, I find for myself, to make that a faith-filled experience, to motivate them to do things that they don't maybe necessarily want to do, is get the buy-in, right? Just get the buy-in, ask their opinion, ask their perspective, and then ask them for solutions. Well, what's your idea? My kids just have solved so many solutions in the last 3 weeks. We were on vacation. They're solving things. They're doing cars, sharing the cart, and they're solving things. And I'm like, you guys go take care of it. And then I'll say, can you do it nicely and quietly, please? Right? And I'm upstairs. Go to it. Whoever survives wins. Anyway, so giving them that opportunity. And then the second thing is really respecting what they say. Now, even if I disagree, and even if I don't like it, there's some things that my kids have chosen that I disagree with, but I've had to be able to say to them, I love you. And I disagree with the choice that you're making, but I can respect that you feel the need to do that. So you do what you feel you need to do, but this is how I feel about it. And this is what I would ask you to do or not do. And you know what? We've had some really great compromises that could have been really sticky. So again, just another suggestion. And then third, I would so invite you to just anytime you see them doing something that is faith-filled, that is good, that is kind, a good report, just praise, thank them. My daughter, I came downstairs this morning, she had a little card up against a glass and it said, hey, everybody, have a great day. Sure love you. Well, I do that for them all the time, right? And I'm getting slowing down because I'm tired. I've had 7 kids. I'm on the caboose end. I'm exhausted. I'm like, someone's picked up the baton of the happy smiley note in the morning. Yay. But I noticed this and I text her, said, thank you so much. And then she texts back, oh, I love you so much. Thanks so much, Mom. And it's just this multiply and replenish, right? Something they did that made our home great, and being able to tell her, hey, you just made our home a happier place. Thanks for doing that. Now, I'm preaching the choir. You guys all know this, but I'm just saying, I really feel like that's all faith-filled. That's all holy habits. That's ministering in our home. Sometimes I think we think ministering is like, it's taking it out there. It's bringing a casserole. It's cookies on the doorstep. It's sitting with someone holding their hand. Well, it's our kids. It's saying, no, I cannot go do that right now because you know what? I've got to do this with my sweet. This is my son's time. And that's what I just did the other day. No, I'm at the park with my son. So sorry. Love you. I'll talk to you in a little bit. You know, we're like hanging at the park, but that's his time. And that's a holy habit. That is seeing the sacred in our family and being able to say, you matter most. And I'm going to show you that you matter most. I'm not just going to lip service you. So that's a thought. I love this. A book. I love how to get your room. How do you get your room to your kids to clean their rooms and other impossible tasks? That's fantastic. Oh, I'm going to have to check that book out. That's great. I love that. And you could tell us if you gotten a little gem from that of how to do that. Is there something you'd be willing to share either in the chat or if you want to pop off mute? You're welcome to. You don't have to. I love that. I'm writing that down. How to get your kids to clean the room and other impossible tasks. And I will say one more thought in that, and that is another holy habit, is that seeing them as divine children, as sons and daughters of God, or whatever your faith-based thing is, but seeing the divine in them, right? And so as you see that, being able to let go of what doesn't matter. Now, I have 2 daughters that are going to move out in a matter of a couple months. And so, you know, it's on my mind. Like, they know how to do all these things. I've taught them, but do they know how to clean their room? Do they know how to cook their meals? Do they know how to da, 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 da? And by the look of their room, sometimes no. And I'm nervous. And then I realize, oh, I'm going back to my fears. And you know what? I go back to when I moved out. And I didn't like to clean my own house. I didn't when I had chores. But guess what? When I went to my apartment, you bet I like those dishes done. And you bet I like that bathroom clean because I'm using it, right? So I actually did better than my mom, I think, thought that I would do. So pick your battles, like usual. I've let them, their rooms, some of them I just go, I love her. I love her. I love her. But that's a holy habit. It's me being able to let go of those things that are my expectations and markers. Do they matter right now? Do they fit the situation? Do they fit their lives and where they're at? And am I seeing them as an independent human being and soul and divine soul that can make that decision and can come to a compromise? Okay, once a week, it's got to be clean, or once every 2 weeks, got to disinfect, right? You just got it. That's just the rule of our home, right? That's the expectation. Any other thoughts? All right, I want some info on managing the natural flow of motherhood, which is constantly changing. Oh, and how to shift gears and habits to being adaptable and being okay with that. Ooh, anybody got thoughts on that? How to manage the natural flow of motherhood, which is constantly changing and constantly shifting those gears. That's what I was just saying to a friend the other day. We are gear shifters all the time. I'm going from a 21-year-old to an 18 to a 16 to an 8-year-old. And believe me, I'm going between Legos and then buying a new car. Like seriously, in a matter of 5 minutes. And I got to shift into that space and be like, I'm totally present and I know all things because I'm the mom, which I don't. So any thoughts on that? Any thoughts on how you can how you can use your holy habits and manage that natural flow of those motherhood transitions?
Connie,
Yes.
I love something that you've taught a lot is the power in the pause, right? So that when they come and ask, when they hit you, we don't want to go with our first response sometimes, because sometimes that's not like, wait, what? Yeah, no, hold on. Sometimes it's the pause and hey, let me think about that. How about I think about that. And then sometimes it's feverishly going behind a closed door and on my knees going, okay, how do I handle this? Or we had a situation come up with some neighborhood friends, right? So how do we handle that? And what I really wanted to do my gut instinct. But then I took that pause for a couple days, and then I finally said, okay, this is what I need to go do, and just kind of let that work and sit and sift and pause. Because sometimes sometimes we do need to jump when we feel, I love, somebody talked about being fish in the sea, right? When we feel the promptings, because we're always living a good life, we don't always recognize them. But then we have those moments where it's, go check on your kid. And I've had one of those where it was, I haven't seen this child for a little while. Where are they? And I go check on them, and I catch something that I needed to, like, if I hadn't stepped in right then and there, what could have happened? Something very serious, right? And going, okay, trust that. So trust your mom stinks. And then also be okay with the power and the pause, that if you don't have the answer right away, to just kind of let it sit, because sometimes the answer comes through somebody else or through prayer and scripture study.
Absolutely love that. Any thoughts on that? Anybody else? I love that. And I love how you put that into play. I know for me, sometimes the power of the pause is simply so I can get some time to figure out what I'm supposed to say to them, right? I just have to go to the bathroom really quick. Be right back, right? And then you're going into your own total sanctuary. Help! What do I say to this child? Right? I love that. I love how you put that into play and how you were able to take immediate emotion out of it. I think sometimes in motherhood, that's one of the hard things as we're shifting those gears, is that we have to, in the moment, we feel like we have to have the answer and the thing. And I love how you allude to that, of saying we don't have to. We can take the time that we need. I love the other piece of this question, which is being adaptable and being okay with that. I can tell you our scripture study right now is so different than 15 years ago. I had all the little doodads and a flannel board, and we had matching treats. I had it out of a book, and we'd read a chapter or a scripture thing, and it had matching treats. The wall, that same one Elaine and I started on, was Rice Krispie wall. And I mean, I was going to town, and it was awesome. And now I lay on the bed and go, yeah, let's do scripture charades tonight. You guys do all the work. And they're knocking themselves out. And I just have to guess it's Noah in the Ark, right? That I haven't seen 500 times. Anyway, so, sometimes it's just like, that's parenting, right? But I've learned too, probably just like you have, especially with what we do with Come Follow Me, but you can do a variety of things. But I've learned the power of the smaller pieces, right? That there's being able to do smaller sort of pulses is actually better for my kids right now where they're at. They don't want to hear anything over 10 minutes, right? But then when they sit down, we'll end up going 15 and 20 because we're adding comments and things like that. But they don't want to know it's going to be more than 10 minutes. And they're always like, oh, I got to shower. How long is this going to take, right? They're not like, oh, please bless me with pearls of wisdom, right? But I found for myself being adaptable to that, being able to do scripture in the car or as we're driving home, or being able to, my little guy, he has his own set of scriptures for turning 8. And I went through and I just did a little brackets on some of my favorite scriptures. And then I put a little heart that said, little heart mom. And he loved it so much that this is what we'll do for his little scripture study. A few times a week, we'll pull out that scriptures, and then we'll flip to one of my favorites that isn't marked yet. And then we'll read it together, and then I'll mark it, and we'll put a little heart mom. And now we put a little date next to it. And my hope is that in the future, he's a missionary somewhere, and he's like flipping that open. He's like, oh, I remember cuddling with mom at night, and we went through our favorite scriptures and read them together. Now I'm not doing it every night. And I'm not being some amazing mom. I'm just doing it a couple of times, but a little bit and a little bit. And over months and years, guess what? It's that David A. Bednar strokes on the painting of the wheat field, and it looks inconsequential. And sometimes those stalks are going to be gleaming that way. And sometimes they're going to be trampled and mashed and whatever, but they're still on there. So I would encourage you to go with the flow of your family right now. I have older people and little 8-year-old. We love the Shannon Foster stuff. She has a subscription stuff. It's $29 a month. I don't get any commission for this, but it's great. And they have these movies. This guy does cartoon drawing, and he makes movies out of them. And my son loves those. One thing I have learned is just to change it up. That's been so great. Add a lot of variety and have some fun with it. And then the second thing is having them be a part of it. So they're assigned. Everyone in my family, we all have a day that we're assigned to share the scripture thought. And it's whatever they feel to share for that day. And sometimes I'm kind of like, okay, can we just say low effort? And I think about some of mine and I go, okay, yeah. Because I'm really hard pressed to do anything that's got visual aids anymore. But I have loved when one of them did the cups, and it talked about the priest. And if you take a cup away, what happens? So my son loved playing with those cups and thought that was so great. So I have loved having people be assigned, and that's their night and they know that's what they're to do. And it's made it so much more variety, so much happier, and the buy-in has been so much better. And we just don't judge what people do. We just say, okay, thanks, that was awesome, thank you so much, whatever. And then we go, okay, we'll get it on the back end when we actually get doctrine taught. Yeah.